Hello, my name is Artsy Blanco, the Artsy Sister, and today I wanted to talk to you about my favorite mecha anime shows, like uh, like mech robots is like one of the oldest types of genres in Japan. Like they've been having like giant robot battles, like as old as they were introduced by Osamu Tezuka in like his Astro Boy. Well, he was a tiny robot, but he also fought like giant robots in his battles. So the first anime show I wanted to talk to you about is the Genesis of Aquarian, and here's the titular Meg, and like it follow like this robot he has like his power sets depend on the pilots because it amplifies the weird sci-fi ability the weird abilities that each of them had like this one gives you the fire element. This one does the sword and another sword. Well, I forgot. I think she was telepathy. Oh, and the lady in the wheelchair. She gives the robot vampirism, if you can believe it. And like he's the only robot in like the show. The scene that they're fighting are angels. It's a little Neo Genesis Evangelion like. It said that like the angels are not like for some faceless types of monsters that they can like argue with, like just think about the Genesis Evangelion, like those weird bird ones. But why I'm gonna talk about Evangelion later on because it's the first mech one of the first mech anime shows that I watched. But yeah, so and also like this robot is one of the early iterations of like a mech that works a little bit that was rendered not by him but like with weird computer CGI. But his weird CGI is a little bit more refined. It looks solid, and the battles for the most part are amusing, man. There's a lot of character banter if you're into that sort of nonsense. Also, like the sequel. It eventually it felt like in 2010 that every weird anime show was like every successful IP was getting a sequel. We got Eureka 7 now and a bunch of other stuff, and even Aquarian got a weird sequel even though the anime show had ended with a definitive ending. Would that Oh, that's so cute. Thank you. All right, I'm back. Oh yeah, like this one ended up getting like a sequel, So like I had to go answer the door for a second because like McDonald's arrived. But yeah, back to the matter at hand. The genesis of Aquarian. Yeah. Moving along. The next mech anime show that I wanted you to get to know is Blue Gender. It has nothing to do with gender. I didn't tell you, or at least if it was about that, I didn't notice because I was too distracted by the robots fighting giant bugs. Like the design of the bug, of like the bug antagonist in like this mech anime show. It looks like the bugs from like Starship Trooper. But yeah, the plot is basically Starship Trooper. But in this version, the bugs. But in this universe, the bugs won, and like they remain. The humans that still remain there. Like they lived in like a space station in outer space, and they only bother to come to planet Earth in order to get resource in order to feed to the space colony because the bugs took over. So and like the main character, he's not an amnesia main character, which is amusing. Like he was a human from like he was put in cryosleep roughly around the time when like the bug thing started happening at the beginning. So then he woke up after the Earth became post-apocalyptic, and like she's the more experienced pilot who like so she can like just talk to him. So then he's like the audience surrogate. She said like she tells her, oh, this is this or this is that, etc., etc. So that's something to consider. Like you don't always gotta like give your audience surrogate a ninja. You can just make him just somebody that was in cryo sleep, or somebody that was in a weird coma where like a plot convenient coma when like when all of the crazy scene was going down. So or just isekai him, like somebody from like the real world that's sent to another world. That way you have like an idiot that you can explain everything to. But yeah, like the bug battles are very interesting. Like the final boss start, it's like it starts getting very weird. More a la it gets a little princess and Nausicaa, the value of the wind at a certain point in. And also with the internal conflict and politics going on in like the space station. I don't want to like spoil the ending because it's like I don't want to like spoil the ending, but it's very amusing. It's a solid anime from beginning to end. This one, the next anime show I want to talk to about, Mech one, is Broken Blade or Break Blade. The show has appeared with two types of translation, and it follows in the tradition of Escaflowne, where yes, they're fighting with mech robots, but they're powered by magic. So it's like a weird, but then again, you can call it but you can call it about whatever you want. Like it's a weird because in the end of the day, visually speaking, they're just giant robots bashing against each other. So yeah, and the main character who's a normal human who happens to be able to synergize with a robot. So he's like the only. So then he can serve as the audience surrogate. So like he's a muggle who can somehow pilot a robot powered by magic. So then, since it's not part of their world, in so much as it's not a magic use, so then the magic people can be like, oh, something, something, something magic, something, something magic per se. So yeah, that's another thing that you could do. Just make your main character around the not be part of the in group. So then the other ones who are part of the in group can be like, oh, this is this and this, and that way they can organically explain how their world functions. Or you can just not do that and you can just go with it. Like Code Geass is a mech anime show that was made by Clamp. You can see that signature way that Clamp makes like the faces, like Clamp has dipped its toes into just about literally any genre. Like I can easily think of an anime show or manga that they have made of literally every type. Except hentai. But then again, they probably had that content hidden and not with their original name. I mean, well, we had not dabbled in that. Cookie, but yeah, the basically is an exile prince who suddenly gets the green hair chicks gives him the ability to do mind control on people. That if he makes eye contact with someone, he can tell them what to do. So yeah, so then he uses that ability in order to like try to have revenge against the tyrannical ruler who also happens to be his father, because he has a grudge against it because like he just tossed them aside after the queen died. But the more that the show progresses, it gets like more to it gets very Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. Or maybe R. Martin was inspired on Code Geass to write Game of Thrones, but with dragons instead of sci-fi stuff. Which one came first? Well, I think Game of Thrones is from like the 80s. Yeah, whatever. I'm speaking out of my whatever. But yeah. And the joke the thing that I find most hilarious about this anime show is that they do not he doesn't illegal moving chess. And like, and then he said, "Oh, I won," cause like, and then he put like the king. Anyone who's ever anyone who's ever played chess, when he put the king like right in front of the other king, and then he be like, a king that doesn't want to do battle is not worthy of being a king. They say, "Oh, if we're just making up our own chess rules, here's another rule that I can do to make me win. I grab this chessboard and then smack you around with it, and then that's the last time we ever play chess." You gotta stick to the rules of the game. You know, it's a board game. You just go with it. If you can just make up rules in the board game, like it's a game of if you just make up random rules, then what's even the point? Whatever. That's the most hilarious thing about Kokias is that it's a chess match between him and his brother. This one, the next robot anime show is Cross Engine. Up there you can see the dragon, and it's called the Rondo of Angel and Dragon. And I guess she's supposed to be Angel. Like it's a futuristic, it's like a weird futuristic sci-fi show, and then sort of maidens that have like more resistance to like the weird mind control that the society runs them. They get exiled to like chick prison, and then she used to be like a high class maiden who used to look down on like people that got exiled until it happened to her, and then it'd be like, but I was a high class aristocrat, how could this happen to me? But yeah, she got exiled to a chick prison, and like and then when she sees like the outside world, the reason why they enjoy their peace is because those maidens are constantly piloting mechs in order to fight the dragons, which are first displayed as like the bad guys of the show, but then as the show goes on, like the main final boss ends up being like Misty Spriggity. You know that the weird Spiggity. You know like the superhero. I think it's a Supergirl villain or slash weird stalker. Well, then again, most women that villains these days are like creepy stalkers.
Mrs. Fiddly is a Superman universe villain.
Yeah, Superman, Superwoman, you know. Yeah, that's just a giant obstacle that they can't punch their way through, and it's very frustrating for people that are like very super to deal with a brick wall that they can't just that they can't just punch right their way through. And it forces them to be diplomatic. He said no.
Like if Mrs. Fiddly wants you to dance, you will dance.
Yeah, and she did dance. The point is that that's the main final boss there, and like like the thing, it just weirdly escalates, you know. It's just a weird show. And it has like Rondo is a song that repeats each other over and over again. Like yeah, and this and it has like a weird theme song that repeats its way as well. And like they put the show, they put the main character to hell more so than the usual hot chick protagonist in a mech show. Yes, and she's gonna get the hot chick in a mech show treatment. Well, anyway, whatever. Moving on. The next mech show is one that everyone's familiar with, and if you're not, then go become familiar with it. Eureka 7. So it's a normal dude and his manic pixie alien dream of a girlfriend, but she only acts weird in like the first episode, and then after the pilot, she just becomes like a stiff wooden idol. until she decides to change for him or develop a sort of humanity, and then it'd be like, but mostly it's just that she's jealous that her robot likes her robot likes to be piloted more by Renton now than her.
It's like a weird love triangle between an alien chick, a guy, and a giant robot.
Yeah, and both of them trying to impress the robot to try to tell it that, yeah, I'm better, trying to impress it to say that I'm more worthy of being your pilot, even though the mech has two pilot seats, and then it'd be like, dude, I have a lot of buttons, and it's not enough for me to just have one pilot. I need two. And the robot does talk at the spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, the robot talks, and it's a chick.
And it makes sense that it's like that. Because you have one person that does the mobility and the other one that controls the guns. I mean, there's no way to do
Yeah, to
both.
do both.
In fact, to do both, you gotta drug yourself to death.
Yeah, as it happened with Holland when he was piloting the Devilfish. That's a cool name for a robot. Oh yeah, and like they're surfing, they're air surfing robots because like there be weird ways. It just looks fun. But yeah, that's
You can make it past the air surfing robot.
yeah, it's like a good thing. And also I know like the pilot episode. The pilot episode is trash. Just start. You can just skip the first two episodes and just start with him already in the Gecko state, hanging out with like the Eco Terror, because that's really what they are. Like Cloud and Barrett in Avalanche.
Yeah,
It's just
imagine if Arcade had a magazine and there was sports. Something, it is
yeah,
to that level. It's like, oh,
yeah.
we're going to destroy all of these places. Come join us. And then,
Yeah, it's like a terrorist organization that has a cool magazine, and then they just highly influence a stupid kid to join their hyper militaristic in order to do violence against the army. Just because of the main character. If you look at the Gecko stick with a magnifying glass, you be like, dude, this guy just killed our kid.
yeah, pretty much.
uh,
Greenpeace.
or Greenpeace. No, Green War.
Yeah.
They're no longer peaceful.
I mean, they fly on a military airship that has a
Cloaking technology and bombardment, and it has not just one a very dangerous mech, but several, and they're onto the teeth. That is,
The show makes it look cool, but yeah, they're totally terrorists. And toward the end of
yeah. They finally dropped their mask and all a bit.
oh, yeah, you're not gonna do what I want. Okay, I am just going to mess you up then.
Yeah, like how has a weird backstory. Just a very weird one, but I don't want to like spoil it because it gets divorced further in the end. And also, there's a episode that I found very boring where it was this Buddha-looking guy shows up there and like exposits and starts talking about the metaphysical for an entire two episodes, not just one. And then I'd be like, oh god, let's just get back to the alien robots fighting. You don't really need it. This is happening cause planet or the ancients or moving around.
By the way, we love this show, but like they made a second season not made by Bones because everybody in Bones died.
Oh yeah, cause like I don't think they died. The tsunami came and like took their entire office, and they didn't have flooding insurance, and then cause it'd be like, oh, we're like in a very high ground, but then a tsunami came and a lot of people forget that like the tsunami really messed up Japan, and not just regular tsunami, but nuclear radioactive tsunami.
Yeah, it's like Godzilla level damage.
Yeah.
Point is, the second part of Eureka 7, Eureka
Oh,
7
seven.
now,
Ow.
it
Ow.
is so bad that it makes Yashahime look good. That is so
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, that's saying something.
Like they literally looked at the source material and said, "We don't get any of this," and then they just decided to copy Evangelion.
Yeah, yeah, they just do Evangelion with. uh,
And it's like, well, Evangelion has all of these iconic robots. What do we do? Oh no, no, let's take amusement park rides and turn them into robots.
yeah. That wasn't a half bad idea. It was just
The
it was
execution that was terrible.
yeah, no, it was like it had good little action set piece, but the human characters they bogged everything down.
They
Like a
removed the surfing from the surfing robot.
Oh
It
yeah.
was like its own thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Somehow they found an excuse to say that now the robots don't surf.
Oh yeah, because they said something coral, something
Something that was at the core of the show went out the window. It's like
how could you get rid of the surfing robots in the surfing robot show?
That's like if they make a new Rasafon, but this time Rasafon doesn't sing.
Oh wait, he didn't sing in the first. It took forever to learn to sing. But we are gonna talk about Rasafon. Oh yeah. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, Neon Genesis Evangelion, that's the remake robot anime show that like literally everyone doesn't want. Like when we joined like the anime club in like high school, they'd be like, for your introduction initiation, you have to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion. So if you wanna like introduce somebody to anime, that's the thing that you gotta like show them, but it's not like a good into it because for every Neo Genesis Evangelion, there's like hundreds and thousands of like just god awful shows, aching clubs. And then it's like you can say the same thing about like most shows. The good ones are a dime a dozen. It's not they are the exception, not the rule.
Don't show in season 2 of Evangelion though.
Yeah, like, or the end of Evangelion, or all of the stupid OVAs, or not even that. Like the last good episode of Evangelion is the one where the robot is one of the angels.
Yeah, after that,
it like switches to some boring metaphysical and boohoo about the past.
And if you look at the DVD commentary, there is a reason for that. They ran out of money.
Yeah,
and they were forced to fill up the final.
Yeah, they wasted all of their giant robot fight animation money. And like you could tell, and like the final episode, they had such little money that they didn't even animate a background. It was just Shinji with a chair being being like hyper depressed while they recycle animations from like the past, but just change the dialogue.
And our expositions of basic metaphysical
whatever.
That's stuff that you learn in like
Kabbalah.
Psychology 101 and Kabbalah.
Yeah, like it's
Oh yeah, the Jewish mysticism is strong in this.
Yeah, like
like do not show this to a Hasidic Jew, they will be offended.
Yeah, like the video. Oh, let's just culturally like people always talking about how like cultural appropriation of like the Americans taking everything, but like everyone takes everything from everyone and just does whatever the hell they want with it. It's like part of human nature. Like,
yeah, Pokemon has a Thunderbird which technically belongs to the Native Americans.
Like Kazakoa.
No, we're talking about Thunderbird, an American Thunderbird. That's the one that they copied, of course.
The Zapdos, right?
Zapdos is a Native American creature.
Even the name?
No, obviously he's not called Zapdos, but he's based on the Thunderbird, which is.
Yeah. But you see my point. Everyone takes everything from everyone. Yeah, but yeah, like if you're gonna be learning Jewish mysticism from Evangelion, don't bother with it. Just go to a rabbi if you're interested in learning real Kabbalah, not what like the Buddhist hippies call Kabbalah. And then they sell you drugs, cause that's basically what most weird cultists are. Like weird cults for many things are just like up to something, If it is too good to be true, it's because it is. That's a common rule that you can follow with literally everything.
When we studied that in college, I showed Evangelion to like the rabbi teacher. He was like, "What in the world?
What in the hell is this? Like just lunatic."
He said, "Why are they fighting? Why are they turning the spear from Isaac Luria into monsters? What is this?"
Like what are they?
Like, I am both offended and confused by what I'm watching.
Yeah. Imagine Don Catalyst the video. Why are they turning the angels into like murderers and Muppets? Or into that was also the problem with like whatchamacallit with Genesis of Aquarian, that they turned the angels into like the bad guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. So of course another one that has a lot of Jewish mysticism.
Yeah, so but yeah, the make animations they love Jewish mysticism.
For weird reasons.
Yeah, you gotta be. They just, I think they just like that cool spheroid tree pattern, and then they just gotta keep using it. Never mind what it means, you just gotta use it. But yeah, that's enough of Evangelion. Now we're talking about the Go Bus. We didn't see Transformer when we were children. We saw the Go Bus.
Why? Because Cuba, that's why.
Yeah, they were very fun. Yeah. Like I don't remember much from it.
Ratchet,
Well,
Coctus,
schools,
and Scyther was their Megatron.
oh
And he
yeah.
turned into a bicycle that shot lasers out of his bald head.
Yeah, and one of them fought with like holograms.
And instead of Optimus Prime, they had First Leader.
Yeah, well, it's just that we saw it in Spanish, so I don't know what they were called in English, and there's a good chance that they shuffle the things around to make their own thing.
And they have a season where they fight giant robotic roaches. And
yeah, it gets a little Starship Trooper at a certain point, but but we don't know whether it's that legitimately there was that, or the Cuban government did its own thing and then just stole the designs of the robot, which they kind of really used to did with
we can go into detail about that one. There's a lot of like movies that were taken by Cuba, dubbed into Cuban Spanish, and then released as different movies.
But we're just shuffling the scenes around and adding a few clips of animation here and there.
Yeah,
and then what? And then the owners of the product be like, "Oh, we're gonna sue you." Say, yeah, come to Cuba. Yeah, I dare you to speak about it. Cause
animation, really angry at the Cuban government of all things because they keep stealing the movies and redubbing them and releasing
yeah, but and then like the Cuban government, yeah, what are you gonna do, Japan? Yeah, because the Cubans they feel very, the Cuban government feels very overconfident to do whatever the hell it wants because they feel like, oh, if you do something to us, you're gonna have to deal with Russia.
And then the Russians like, don't it
No, just leave me out of it. And the Russian government be like, what?
we haven't been part of you. We haven't done any.
We haven't said you. We haven't done the cheated things with you in like forever. We're
like
not even
60 years.
In like 60 years, you lunatic. Just leave us out of it.
But yeah, you will see a weird animosity between Cuba and Japan over these sort of things, especially toy animation.
Yeah, because like they took everything from toy.
Like the Princess Knight, all of the Osamu Tezuka shows.
Yeah.
They took them, redubbed them into Spanish with Spanish actors, and they re-released them under different names.
Yeah. Because they'd be like, who's gonna stop? Who's gonna know?
You're like, you're gonna fight the Russians, and they're like, oh.
No, leave me out of
it. Leave me out of this crazy lunatic.
But yeah, that's the thing about the GoBuds. Moving along. This one is Tenje Tope Gurren Laga, or Gurren Laga for sure. Like the anime show is good for like the first 7 episodes. And then it just turns awful after the. I don't want to spoil it, but since it happens so early in the show, then we might as well tell you that they kill the main character. This is the main character, or the one I perceive as the main character, Kamina.
The only interesting person that made you want to watch the show. The
cool guy while you're there. And then they just try really hard to make
you're watching Evangelion, and then at the third episode, they kill Shinji Ikari.
Well, Shinji Ikari is like it's like lame.
Okay, fine. They kill Asuka.
Yeah. Asuka's more fun than Shinji. Yeah.
And then they replace it with like a chick in a pink suit. Wait, they actually did that in the remake of Evangelion.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah, Evangelion.
Yeah, they kill the charismatic, the heart of the show. Or if they were doing Eureka 7, but they kill Holland.
Yeah, and then they replace Holland with like
Rento becomes Holland cause of reasons, but it doesn't make any sense because it's just like but he's just a kid that's good at piloting a mech. That's not
that good. He doesn't actually get good until the robot starts piloting it for him.
Yeah. Or not even that until the Lasengan guy becomes the main pilot of it because But yeah, it's and they also give him like a weird Eureka looking tipsy girlfriend with like cute little eyeballs, like a tipsy girlfriend to motivate him.
They gave me the same eyeball as the chick from what you call this from Samuel Calvin with a weird.
Yeah, with like the weird clover eyes. Here, you can like kind of have see it over here. Let me just zoom in a little more. There, you see like the weird clover eyes. Yeah,
Like she literally leaves no impression. If you would have put a gun to my head right now, I couldn't tell you the name of that character.
yeah. And they got in a fight because they both had because of Yoko. It's funny that they call her Yoko because of
So
like
Yoko shows up a lot at the beginning and then not at all.
yeah, like they just sort of sideline her. And you know, I don't even like it. Just feels like after it just feels like it lost steam. Like they were only planning 12 episodes, but then the show was like good, and then they thought, oh, make some more robots, and then they be like, we gotta come up with more plot for this. And like it has the most giant boss fight because the robot eventually like gigantamaxes to like no galaxy-maxes because it becomes big enough to like walk around on top of galaxies.
I wonder if Madoka in her true form and Tengen Koga Gurren Lagann would a fight, who would win?
Well, Madoka because she's being powered by a wish.
So basically, she can just. I wish that Tengen Koga Gurren Lagann doesn't exist, and then that's it.
Yeah, no, it's just like she wish not like she wish not to always win all of the battles, so there's no way around it.
Yeah, I wish I win every fight. So yeah, sure. Put me versus Mike Tyson, I'll be fine.
Poor little Madoka. Yeah, she wished for plot armor and she got it. And then the little Cuban demon be like, "Are you trying to become a goddess?" And I said, "Yeah,
Obviously.
obviously." Cause that's the only way you get whatever you want. And they say you're gonna be in a constant state of always like fighting, and then it'll be like, oh, don't worry, I'll be fine. I'm 14 years old and I don't understand the implications, but I have an unwarranted sense of invulnerability word from my youth. You know, like it's some measure like the dangers of stuff.
Yeah, but we got sidetracked here.
Whatever, back to Tangent Topic and only watched the first 7 episodes and then
Mind you, has a really good soundtrack. Weirdly good.
oh yeah, like, and the fights are good until they get ridiculous.
Like I think the last good fight that was an actual fight and not just was getting bigger, it was the battle with Rasengan.
Oh yeah, like
That was really well animated.
yeah, Lasenga. That's the one that the monkey guy owns.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were fun. Oh yeah, this one, the next giant mech show is it's like a very old, and there's a good chance you may not know it, and there's a good chance that we may not be able to find a clip. Ixer one.
Oh wow, that is ancient.
Yeah, so like it's aliens from space trying to take over the world by turning people into weird. It just gets very Cronenberg, where it's like the weird alien stuff assimilating humans into it. So then it's an alien maiden that needs the help of a human in order to like pilot her robot because of reasons. Doesn't make any sense. I guess she just needs a stupid human to explain everything to her. Like I think they remove her. Yeah, like it does eventually get like a sequel, but taking the human element completely out of the equation with a smaller Ixer. But yeah, it has like a weird sci-fi name and like it has she finds like the weird aliens in like a different dimension type of place, and then also combines with like the big robot action. So it has a little bit of both, which is good. And let me just make sure that this is still running. All right, it's still running. Oh yeah, like the next anime show is Jinky Extended. It's another one of the. It's from like a very niche genre where only women are allowed to pilot robots. And what did guy pilot robots in this show? I don't remember. Then I mostly remember. I don't remember. It's just that I only saw this Jinky Extended once a long time ago.
What are we talking about?
I don't know, cause
The robots look cool. It's
yeah,
basically
yeah,
Gundam, but they
yeah, Gundam but with chicks. The robots look cool. That's all you need to know about it. Cool robot action. Never mind the plot, cause if you put a gun to her head, I wouldn't even be able to tell you the plot. Stinky extended. Or and then they constantly saying Jinky this, Jinky that. That's what I remember. Chicks fighting robots were yelling Jinky all the time. This one is the Line Battles of Irons. Like
this.
it's about like I think she's a different dimension chick.
Yeah.
That she has like this cool and amazing robot, and then like this terrible human being takes over her robot, and then she goes from being like the protagonist into the of the story to being like the hard damsel in distress. But yeah, that's basically it. Like the guy stole her mech. And then he piloted it terribly to the city, causing hundreds of civilian casualties. That they then afterwards they'd be like, "Oh, shame, shame." Kind of like how they did once in Evangelion, that they acknowledged that terrible human pilots cause more casualties, and the end it's like we didn't have any casualties until you started piloting the Eva Shinji Ikari. But yeah, and the reason why I remember this one, not fondly, is but I like it up until the end where it just left it weirdly incomplete, and it just we're gonna have the final battle, but then they just did like a fan service hot spring episode instead.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm. Like I was,
This one had like a weird trope. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not.
it has a weird trope, an edgy trope.
Well, yeah, basically, this is the first anime that started making it that in order to pilot the robot, you need to grope the woman.
Yeah.
And that's how you turn the robot on for some reason. And it gets to a point where in the later episodes, she's like, okay, can we just hold hands instead? And like, okay, fine, we'll hold hands.
Yeah, and then they just bypass that.
But like for the first 8 episodes, they did that.
They did the Opie fan service.
Like that's how you turn the robot on.
Yeah, by exciting her.
And then later on, a bunch of other anime just started copying it from there.
Yeah, it was a bad idea. But yeah, but more than another thing is that this anime makes sure the robots it was one of the early animations where the robot was rendered with CGI, but like the CGI was so then you had like
have you seen Armor Core 1?
One.
That one had better graphics than the robots in this show.
Yeah, like it was fun. You see the normal human, and then suddenly the game switches to like PlayStation 1 graphics or a Transformer Prime graphics. You remember Transformers Prime?
Yeah, with like the animals, like that level of bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh
It
god.
sucks because it is so well drawn. They just didn't feel like drawing robots, so instead they were like, okay, we're gonna CGI into this. So
Yeah.
highly detailed, cell shaded characters, and in the background a bunch of like pixelated robots fighting each other.
Yeah, it's like it's bad. It's bad. When your mech has don't even the robot has a good design. I just feel like maybe they should have drawn it with like a pencil instead of CGI.
Like there's 2 ways to make this a massive. One of them, change the way that you turn on the effing robot. Like there's gotta be a different way. And second of all, draw the robots by hand. If you do those 2 things, it then becomes a classic.
Yeah, just do things. Oh, and finish and do the stupid final fight.
Like it's fun because there's a preview of the next episode, but the next episode never comes.
Yeah.
And in the next episode, he was going to have like a dark transformation and like they had this awesome preview for the next episode.
For the next season that never happened.
Like you had the robot transforming, and then oh wow, the next season is going to be awesome.
But the next season never came, and here we are still waiting for the next season of High School of the Dead.
Or the next season of
like what?
No, Drifters.
Drifter, yeah.
Where they hint that you're gonna get to see a fight between gnomes and Jesus Christ. Like
yeah. Drifter is just a madness show. I feel like the Drifter people could do a good Dark Souls anime. Cause it's basically the same concept, like warriors from different times being thrown into a weird world that they don't understand.
You know what they should have done? They should have brought Alucard in there.
Yeah.
Like since the people who made Drifter also made Hellsing, bring Alucard in there.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to see Alucard fight Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
crazy stuff, or a dragon.
No, it's gotta be Jesus.
Dragon. Jesus has a dragon.
Yeah, I forgot that he has a dragon in this one.
Yeah.
Like he basically said things in the show. This is like part of the show.
Yeah,
we should
wait.
probably talk about this.
Yeah.
Jesus in anime would be an interesting topic for a different anime.
Yeah. So how the anime people the truth. Jesus died for this and just whatever. Whatever. Of course, Massen Kaiser. I put an SKL because it's like the last one that we saw. But also, you can go around with any of the Massen Kaiser.
Yeah, they're all gold.
Yeah, they are good. This sounds like a great like a great rock song. I also don't get why one pet peeve is the chick robots in Massen Kaiser. Why do they have to be weaker than the guy robots? Are they saying that chicks cannot design strong mechs?
There is a scene in Massen Kaiser SKL where a male robot essentially assaults a female robot.
What the hell, man?
What is that even?
Why is that even a thing in mech shows? It's like a robot. A robot has nothing to, a robot is just a tool. And why do chicks have to pilot chick robots?
Yeah.
Heck, even a regular.
Wingo, it's
Oh yeah, Wingo's it's a beast.
Like over there gets established that it's a really really powerful man.
Yeah, and also very fast. Like the design of Wingo is very similar to Devil Lady.
Which was also made by them.
Yeah, like the Massen Kaiser people, they come in two flavors: giant robots or giant monsters.
They like kaijus.
Yeah, they always doing some kaiju fights, and sometimes they do both giant robots fighting kaijus and vice versa.
But yeah, Devil Lady looks a lot like Wingo.
Yeah, or vice versa. Which came first, Devil Lady? No,
No, Wingo's been around since.
Yeah.
Since the 60s.
Yeah. Like, and Devil Lady is from like
from the 80s.
Yeah. Okay, but whatever. Potato. Who came first? The demon robot or the robot?
Seriously gay. You have to male characters that
always fighting to see who's like the dominant one. They like the yaoi. The yaoi is strong with his tooth. With his tooth. Oh yeah, this one is this next mech show is a Move Loop alternative. Like it's based on like a visual novel that's where it's basically like chicks fighting the bug. It's another mech show where they're fighting bugs. It's like the Starship Trooper. You'd be surprised at how many Starship Trooper mech anime shows took inspiration from that.
That's the Defense Force just Starship Trooper with robots also.
Yeah, like that could even be seeing all of the anime shows inspired by Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
Blue
Yender, Captain Earth, this one.
Move Loop. But yeah, but they say that but they said that like Move Loop that this Move Loop the animation that they made, it was the arc that was the lead hand.
It's similar to how they always do the golden arc when they do Berserk.
That they do the Lisa. It's a Move Loop is a hentai visual novel that got made into that got toned down to edgy in an anime. When she is the Move Loop toned down.
But it has such a good plot, I say.
Yeah, it's good plot and cool mech robots, and the mechs are also made with CGI, but they are more sleeker. Like they got better practice with it.
It's not line barrel of iron, that.
Yeah, it's not like barrel of iron, but at least it has two shades of color at least, and very nice sheen.
Like honestly, if you give the people that made the Genesis of Aquarian and tell them to do line barrel of iron, you got a show. Yeah. They know how to make CGI robots.
Yeah.
Have we talked about line barrel of iron yet?
Yeah, we just did.
Oh yeah.
See, so forgettable. Well, not as bad as Jinky. This one is Rasifon. Okay. I tried reading the manga and it's just nonsense. It's like it's like a harem show with a bunch of chicks inexplicably attracted to the main character. And the main maiden, Mishima Reika, is also like a tipsy yeah, Giggly made it. But the anime show, they saw the manga, they threw it out the window, and then they did their own thing.
And their whole thing is a masterpiece.
Yeah,
Compared to the garbage that the manga was.
yeah, yeah, like they cleaned they sanded out all of the rough edges or Rasifan. But yeah, yeah, like this is one of the rare occasions where like the anime show is better than the manga.
Not just better, but substantially better. Like the
Yeah.
manga's just utter nonsense, but
Yeah, but Rasifan, they took that utter nonsense and made a good show. And it's also like
well, the size of Rasifon varies depending on the scene. Sometimes he's as big as a building, and sometimes he's small, and then
with the scaling. They can decide how big Rasifan is, and sometimes it sings beautifully, and other times it's like howling at the moon, or it's just they're fighting singing alien robots being piloted by aliens that have blue blood. Well, or humans that develop blue blood.
No, they're piloted by the moon, which is like a mythology from like Japan. So,
yeah, like their own thing. They weren't copying the Sephiroth this time. They did their own thing, and it was nice, and it was good. But yeah, Ross is fun. At the end, it's kind of weird, but whatever. It's but yeah, and it does various painting. Just this guy painted the same thing over and over again, because he's like hyper obsessed with something. Yeah, and it's good. I actually like have fun memories of Rosafon. I remember when we told like a friend, oh, we'll watch Rosafon, and then like afterwards it'd be like I couldn't get, and then afterwards when he asked them to tell us if they like it, they'd be like I couldn't start laughing because of the singing robot, and that's where I laugh. If you can get past the ridiculous robots singing each other, they do punch each other as well, but most of the time it's like then they win. But there is gonna be robot on robot violence, not like a singing contest.
yeah, it's like a robot starts singing and then the other one just punches him. It's like, why didn't we just start with that?
Yeah.
Like the punches seem to be far more effective than all of the singing.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely feel like the singing was not working on the robots. Well, the singing was more like a psychic attack on the pilot.
No, it corroded buildings and stuff. Remember the first one, Falseta?
Yeah, but you can just punch falsetto. That's
Yeah, and she also has like a laser beam tiara, so the thingy was completely unnecessary. Well, the thingy was part of the population mind control.
oh yeah.
Because he lived in a city that was completely closed off from the outside world, and it even ran on a different clock because time in there it passed a lot slower than time on site. So the city that the bad guys had managed to take over, it ran at a different clock. While the ones outside they were on normal time. So that's how he ended up much younger than his romantic interest. He ended up at 18 and she 24. Like it's one of those rare instances where the main character guy is dating an older woman.
The other one's a record 7.
Yeah.
Where you have a 14-year-old dating a woman that's like 300 years old.
Yeah, even though she's like fresh, cause she doesn't age. It still doesn't change the fact that it's a 14-year-old with a 300-year-old hag. And the same thing like vampire shows also run into that trouble. That if you look at it from very close, you'll be like red flag.
And that she commits suicide in order to develop a universe. It's like
Whatever. Eureka has a lot of issues.
it's very weird.
Yeah. Whatever, but yeah, warning about Eureka 7. Yeah, whatever. Hey, Rasifan singing robots, and then and they're also like he also like these two characters are competing to see who at the end who becomes like the ruler of the who becomes like top mech at the end. Because they're both important chumps. But this one is the next robot show is Red Baron. It's another mech show that we saw in Cuba. So our version of the thing that we may have seen of Red Baron may not be the same version that came out of the rest of the world. So if we talk about the plot differently, it's probably because the Cuban government butchered it and re-released it. and call it something else.
Sí, correct. El balón rojo. And,
Yeah. Con un corazón
yeah,
digital.
they even have like their
El
own.
varón.
They even have like
Yeah.
their own opening in like Cubans.
Yeah, that was a punchy robot.
Like my favorite edit of all of the anime is the fact that they made Frieza a guy in Spanish, but he's a woman.
Yeah, like
So then when we heard it in the US, like, why does he sound like a shit? The
Yeah.
true question that I should have been asking is, why did he sound male
in Spanish. Yeah, like Frieza is a dude in Spanish, but a girl, but originally she's a lady
oh, a
in
lizard
Japan.
lady?
Lizard lady. Wow, ladies can be lizards too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You know, they beat out. You want a strong female bad guy? All right, perfect. Frieza. Who becomes who stays as a general problem all throughout Dragon Ball Z. Whenever the ratings start dropping, they like find a way to bring back Frieza as the enemy. Like you notice that in Dragon Ball Z.
Now it's super Frieza. Like Cells and get that type of attention, but Frieza.
Yeah. Frieza was able to build a big enough fandom for people to want to see her more often on the big TV.
Well, they do that a lot too. Like Piccolo used to be the bad guy, and now
he's a good guy, a very violent good guy. But the Piccolo arc worked well.
Yeah.
And then Inuyasha copied the Piccolo arc with the Shoma.
Yeah.
It said that he wasn't physically abused to Rin. He was criminally negligent, which is different. Here you go, my attendant. You look after this pet human. Bye.
Why you got Chinese?
Yeah, why? Yes, anyway. Why? I hate that. So, we got sidetracked. We're Baron.
Okay, Red Ball. Yeah.
Yeah, Punchy Robot. Moving on. That's what I remember of it, but it has a nice, cool design for like the 90s. All right, here's another punchy robot, the Beagle. Like in Reddit, they say that Beagle doesn't qualify as an anime because it doesn't have the classical anime aesthetic. But like, if you go to Japan, they'd be like, the Beagle is an anime. It was made in Japan by Japanese people, animated by Japanese people. Therefore, it's an anime. So what if they don't have the big bubbly eyes? Because they were going for a style that like
They were going for Batman the animated show style.
Batman the animated show, even his design is very Bruce Wayne, except that his alter ego is not Batman, but a giant mech robot, and then he's a billionaire with like the giant mech. So the point is that they should have they should give Batman a giant mech.
He has a giant mech.
Oh yeah. I read it in like one of the mangas.
What was it called?
Justice Buster.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Batman does get a giant mech. Does eventually make himself a
You
giant
should
mech.
thoroughly make Justice Buster and have him fight Beagle in Armor Core.
Yeah. Yeah, just to see which one like does better. We did design the robot Beagle in Armor Core, which is something you can watch it later. But yeah, the plot of Beagle is well, it starts as him just regularly dealing with like a robot of the week episode. There's a robot boss, and then he deals with it, rinse and repeat until it starts him trying to figure out where are all of these hostile elements coming from, and like what the hell. And then in one episode he has a psychotic breakdown where he sees tomatoes. Lots and lots of tomatoes. So yeah, you wanna. So I'd be thinking, why was he trauma? Like who in Japan was traumatized by tomato? Like, I am a tomato.
No. What happened there was that they probably watched Evangelion and they said, "Okay, let's just do the end of Evangelion."
Yeah.
So it has a similar second arc.
Yeah. Like the second arc, it got a little Evangelion-y. Oh, and casting the name of God, guilty. Like the robot, if it doesn't like you, it will like trap you. It will trap you. It will trap you inside its cabin to watch you starve to death. That happened to the pilot of Big Foul that he had to like jump through hoops to get like his stupid mech to work. That way he could go on a rampage in like the final episode. It's like, yeah, I can finally find my big robot. And then now and then because like since he's like a millionaire like the others over town, he'd be like, why can't I pilot my giant mech? Why is my giant mech such an ass? That he tried me here. Guys, get me out of here. Please let me out of the cabin. I'm hungry and I gotta pee. I'm gonna pee in the cabin if you don't let me out, you stupid robot. That didn't happen like that. I just imagine it.
That's how he got out.
Yeah, he tried to pee in the cabin and then the robot be like, get out. Yeah. You can't just like pilot a robot. You gotta be a tomato person to pilot a robot.
Yeah, because plot wise, what they did was that they created a robot and then the pilot in
Yeah.
so it's one pilot per robot. So if you're not one of the
One of the assembly line children.
you're not gonna be able to pilot it.
Mm-hmm.
And like the barcode of your head needs to match the barcode of the whatever.
Yeah, not in your head, in the eyeball.
Yeah. Or you have to be the descendant of one of the.
Or they can like fake it by creating a robot that has the barcode in order to trick the robot into letting you pilot, as it was with the Big Dorothy, and even with the Big O herself, because she was also compatible with the giant mech.
Oh, with Big Father did that too. They did some DNA shenanigans in order to.
Yeah, like they stole Dorothy's adapter. But that happened somewhere around the end. We're spoiling a lot of Big O. Well, but that's the biggest twist of the show, which got a very Neo Genesis Evangelion, which is not a good thing. You don't want to get into Neo Genesis Evangelion, because I don't know about you, but I did not like the end of Evangelion.
I did not care for the Godfather and the end of Neo Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah. As soon as after the robot is the angel, that was the last. But then again, does Evangelion even qualify as a robot show, because they're basically flesh and blood creatures that have like an armor and like something on their back in order to make humans be able to pilot them, but they're still flesh and blood creatures with their.
Yeah, they function sort of like Titans from Attack on Titan. So you got like a flesh and blood creature being controlled by.
Which makes me think that Attack on Titan is copying Neo Genesis Evangelion's home. But skip the armor part.
No, eventually they do get armor. So I mean, they eventually do look like mechs.
They eventually turn into Evangelion.
Yeah.
All right, so we copied Evangelion. Moving along. All right. This one is the version of Escaflowne. And it's one of the earliest isekai animation. Isekai is that a normal human gets sent to a fantasy world. But this one is started backwards, because this magical kid, well, he's not magical. He's just like a prince that pilots a mech that is powered by a dragon heart. So it's like if a robot is piloted by a magical item and it's made of like dragon bones. Is it a mech? Is it a well? It's very steampunky. The weird armors, like.
Yeah, like you look at that thing and it's more like an armored core than a.
Yeah, like it has Escaflowne has more in common with Armor Core than it's a weird hybrid of sci-fi.
Well, you can make whatever. You can make the robot in armored core. In fact, we've made it in armored core.
But
Um,
But yeah, and then like he goes to her world in order to get a new dragon heart, in order to to kill a fresh dragon, in order to get a heart for his robot. But then I'd be thinking, you went to regular planet Earth to hunt a dragon. So even in regular planet Earth, there's a world within a world, because the area around the globe peeled back in order to show like a dragon.
yeah, an actual dragon that was still alive.
Yeah.
You had to go to the planet Earth to get to a different dimension where there was a poison dragon.
Yeah, in order to get the dragon heart to pilot his mech, because the dragons in his world got hunted into extinction in order to pilot the mechs.
Well, you can use dead fossilized dragon heart, but Escaflowne specifically requires a real dragon heart.
Yeah, like it requires a fresh heart. But yeah, Escaflowne be weird. But it be a weird hybrid. Yeah, like
And then you got invisible robots that you got to find with telekinesis.
yeah, and like using the well, he gets something kind of like the force.
Yeah.
Yeah, the girl teaches. He shows him the girl teaches him how to use the force to find by meditating on the pendulum in order to use algorithm. You know, because that's her main peg, algorithm, in order to find the robot. But then as the show goes on, you find out that it's not algorithm; it's a dependent. Gives her the ability to create the future that she wants.
So if in the future she wants to create, she imagines a future where he hits the robot every time. He's gonna get lucky every time.
Yeah, so yeah, she gets him plot offensive.
And
But
then that gets to a point where everybody,
when escalated to a grand scale, it gets to a point where everyone's having their future and their wishes come true, and then it just breaks out into an all-out brawling. Like
yeah, 'cause everybody wished to kill each other.
yeah, because they were a very violent society. And even these two that had a rivalry, they suddenly went from like fighting the enemy to like fighting each other.
So that was like their ultimate wish. They wanted to see who was strongest.
Yeah, you know.
And it has one of the best sword fights between robots ever. It's like
Oh yeah,
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers needs to watch that and
it's
to see how they do a proper.
yeah. But this one was made in Tokyo. Like Tokyo used to like publish all of the weird experimental stuff, and like Escaflowne is a product of that. Then like it's a pity that that company went bankrupt, and now
No, they're back. They're back. They're just
uh
making it worthwhile.
they just stopped taking
Yeah, they went
risks.
through bankruptcy and then they came back a few years ago, like 10 years ago.
And now they're like meh.
Yeah, they're going for the safe route, which is etching every episode and garbage plots.
Computer generated garbage
Yeah.
plot. Uh, oh
I dare you to write in the comments a good Tokyo Pop anime that was published in 2010.
yeah, after the tsunami. Like the next one is Vandread, the ultimate Vandread, and like that one is that there's a guy planet and there's a chick planet. They live in opposite planets, but like the weird sci-fi reason behind it is like because it's nuts, very nuts.
Do we go into detail?
Yeah, but that's gonna spoil like the ridiculously crazy twist ending.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Like basically the reason why they live like that is because there's a hyper advanced human civilization who, in order to extend their life force, they create planet colonies where the people are being bred in order to produce what they need. So then the chick planet is when they need a new fresh uterus, and the guy planet is when they need new and improved male reproductive parts. And then there's another planet that's
No, for the male, what they were extracting was the testosterone.
oh yeah, the testosterone.
So they created a hypermasculine planet in order to extract their pituitary glands and whatever.
Yeah, and then a hyperfeminine for like the chicks.
Yeah, because they needed to breed hyper whatever in order to reproduce. So they were.
Yeah, so they were there so that they would mine their juices to increase their number. And then there was another planet where they take their spinal cord, and another one where they take their hairdo.
Yeah, like if they wanted to make wigs, they would create a god that said, "Oh, I value the quality of your hair," and then everybody in that society was into hair.
Yeah, and then they were commanded to always take care of their hair.
And there's one where they commanded to take care of the eyeballs, and then
yeah,
and the blind maidens were the priestess because those are the ones that had the eyeballs extracted.
Yeah, it's it gets very, and then obviously they're gonna need a mech to deal with a hyper advanced society that's gonna come after that's gonna murder them to get like their body parts.
No, you know that if any society creates the ability to go into outer space, they suddenly are not thing anymore, so they just go and destroy them.
Yeah, like as soon as they develop the ability to travel to space, and then they hyper focus on them. So then that's why that's the main driving point.
And then they have like this thing where the male planet created a robot that has a penis and the female one a vagina, and then that's what they can combine.
Yeah.
It's like very, very and then they discover that they can mate all in other ways other than asexually.
Yeah, because like the humans from that society, they reproduce by via test tube.
Yeah, so then they discovered that if the robots could do it, they could do it too. That there's a
Yeah,
mechanism.
yeah. They Adam and Eve. They learn of the real birds and bees through their from their
Robots.
to their robots. But yeah, and of course it's a hiding show with him, like, with his three main chicks.
Yeah, like it becomes a thing. Okay, let's try to combine. Like it gets weird.
Yeah, well, let's try to find different positions to see if we can get a better fighting robot. But
And indeed, depending on what position the robots pick, is what comes out. There's like 26 variations that they use throughout the.
try the show in Vandread. But yeah, it's a weird sci-fi show. Also kind of edgy, but whatever. It was required back then.
They find a fun way of going about it.
Yeah, yeah. So organically embedding Oppa into it. And he's the only guy, one of the few guys in the chick airship.
Yeah, and they also explained that the reason why he wasn't hyper masculine is because it's a little defective. His
Yeah,
testosterone isn't as high, so he doesn't make him as much of an idiot as
yeah, as the other idiot guys from his planet.
like because he's slightly effeminate. He's able to
Yeah,
empathize with
with the maidens there. But yeah, since his testosterone level was low and wasn't high enough to qualify to join the army, then he was able to get along with the chicks.
Oh yeah, and it's hilarious because the ads on those planets, like the chicks, they say, "Oh, beware of the man," and they
Yeah,
come and they would enslave us, and they would use their snakes in order to destroy. And they put like the guy thing as a moon, and the chicks, the ads that they put on their planet is like, "Women have two mouths, and they will come and destroy you."
like because the guy planet and the chick planet were at war with each other because they developed technology strong enough to go out of space. So then when they became aware of each other, since they were not taught to like get along, then they just went to war with each other because they were both highly militarized. So yeah, when two highly militarized societies gain the ability to go to space, naturally their only way of interacting is to like go to war on each other. Because that's just how the natural order of things, you know. It's been happening like this since like forever.
Oh yeah, and it's fun also that they said that the ability to combine came from the females, but they couldn't figure out why they couldn't get the robots to combine. So
Yeah, like
it's that too. And
yeah.
the male were also trying to figure out a way to combine and couldn't do it either because two guys can combine.
Well, at least but
In the show, like this is in the show, so then
yeah,
like there's a lot of
yeah.
embedded sexuality into this robot. It's very weird.
Yeah, whatever. Enough about Vandread. All right, we are done with all of the weird mech sci-fi shows. Wow, we ended up talking about this nonsense for an hour. I do apologize, but I am rock.